Okay, it's that time. Let's go. Oh, I love this record, huh? This is probably my favorite Pac song ever. All right? And it's funny, I heard this later. It's not something I heard in real time at all. I heard this song way after the fact, like um late 2000s. Want me here today if the old school didn't pave the way. Pac killed this. The beat's crazy. Shout out to, I think it was Soul Shock that did this beat. Whoever did this beat. Um, this is the record that a lot of people talk about Pac now because it's interesting. It's like it's almost like that love that Pac had for New York, that love-hate relationship. And I feel like this is one of those songs that's really crept up in Pac's discography. I would argue it's his best song. I don't know. That's a hard argument to make. Pac has a lot of great songs. But this is my favorite of the bunch because he's kind of like happy. In fact, I remember when I heard the song. Now that I think about it, I heard the song in Montreal. That's where I heard it. So this is like 2004, 2005. I was at a club in Montreal and they played this, and I was like, I've never heard this song before. What the hell? You know what I mean? And it was just happy. I was like, I've never heard Pac happy. Like, you know what I mean? Really? Like, I mean, I know I Get Around is also kind of happy Pac. And happy Pac is very underrated. You know, a lot of times Pac sounds like depressed and mad and obviously drunk and shit like that and passionate. And that's cool. But that sort of fun-loving side of Pac, you don't see it as much. I mean, you know, there was a way he delivered his verses too, where obviously he's got a good voice, so he was able to explore, sort of style and there was charisma there, of course. But I'm talking about just like, man, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I feel good right now, Pac. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like I saw that a lot. I was always more like depressed and angry Pac. And anyway, that's what we're going to talk about right now. So let me switch this to speaking of depressed Pac. Oh, the song, man. This beat's crazy. So, Pac is interesting. There's a lot I can say about Pac. Pac is one of the first rappers I ever loved. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, I'm an 80s baby, early 80s baby. I remember when Pac passed because it was a big deal, actually. And I can't say that I listened to his music prior, but I do remember changes being huge on the radio. And not huge in the Celine Dion kind of way, but just like people who didn't know Pac were like, oh, there's a song Changes that's playing a lot and it's dope. You know what I mean? So I like Pac a lot, man. He was one of my favorite rappers at the time. Like I said, growing up, I was listening to rap that my dad played, but I wasn't listening to rap exclusively. You know what I mean? I was listening to a lot of different genres, which was actually pretty great, and I'm glad I did that because in a way it informed like my musical taste and my hip hop taste because it made me understand that there is music outside of rap. You have to know that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? There is music outside of rap, and a lot of it is great too. You know what I mean? And it informs rap. So if you have good taste outside of rap, you can bring that taste into hip hop. You know right? Hip hop takes from outside of rap. Give me that. And makes it hip hop. Anyway, so Pac was one of the very first rappers. I mean, I remember buying All Eyez On Me, I think. And I was listening to All Eyez On Me a lot. All Eyez On Me, Harlem World. Yeah, there was like a year, it was like 97, 98, where I was like, okay, I'm really gonna dig so deep into whatever I can get available in this rap shit. So, I'm listening to Pac, and I liked Pac a lot. To me, the West Coast was the best shit. I was more oriented to the West Coast initially when I was listening to rap, because that was what was popular, right? Especially being outside in Saudi Arabia, what we were getting was the popular shit, obviously. The Fresh Princes, the Snoop Dogs, right? Pac. I was getting that shit big, right? It's only when I started digging more, and I remember first hearing Mobb Deep in like 98. The first time I heard Mobb Deep, I was like, oh. That was what actually really switched me into becoming more of an East Coast fan, and I've been there ever since, I would say. That's how important Mobb Deep are. Shout out to Mobb Deep. So, Pac. I loved Pac initially Obviously, it's great starter rap. Honestly, it really is, because it's it's easy enough for a casual to get into, but it's also dope enough where you can understand that rap is about passion, saying things that matter, having beats that knock, right? So it's great starter rap in that regard. As the years went on and I started to get more into hip hop, I started to listen to Pac less and less. And to be honest with you, I don't listen to Pac at all these days. I haven't really listened to Pac in a super long time. I'm playing this song, Pain. It's like maybe every year or every couple years, I might play a Pac song out of the blue or whatever. But he's not somebody that I listen to on a day-to-day basis. And this is someone that, like myself, I listen to rap all the time. I go through phases. I've been on a flip mode phase recently, as I'm sure some of y'all might realize. That's really what I'm kind of getting into, Redman and flip mode these days. And that's also why, I'm going to side note for a second, why this whole greatest rappers conversation is pretty silly. If you're not throwing Busta Rhymes or Redman in your top 10, it's hard for me to take you seriously. Because yes, at the end of the day, we love the Nas's and the Coogee Raps and the Jays of the world who are serious with the pen and all that shit. But there's a big side of rap that is also just fun-loving, goofy, just energy while still having like that bravado and edge. And that's what Busta Rhymes and Biz Markie and Redman, all those guys, they're amazing at that shit. And that's a big part of me too. I love that shit. So it's, again, I've said this before, but a lot of so-called hip-hop heads who are actually casuals deep down, they can't understand that fun, right, even just being kind of a goofball to a certain degree, is a big part of what makes rap cool, right? I mean, you look at Fat Boys and all those people. I'm not a huge Fat Boys fan, but the fact of the matter is that rap does have that side where it's like just comedy, right, and just letting loose, right? And Busta Rhymes and Redman let loose like crazy. So anyways, the fact of the matter is, while I go in, between, obviously I'm listening to my Cardi. I love Cardi. Again, Cardi is more kind of on the loose, have a good time type of vibe, but still hard hitting and fun and stylish, right? Busta Rhymes, Redman, Flip, all that shit. And then I go and I'm listening to AZ and Nas and Mobb Deep and Wu and all that serious shit, right? In the midst of all this, I almost never listen to Pac. I had him on my list, I think on 12th, on my greatest rappers list. I think I put Missy Elliott above him. Some people are going to say that's blasphemy. I'd rather listen to Missy than Pac. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, not that I think that Missy, in terms of what Missy is saying, I don't think that Missy is saying more than Pac. But again, Missy stylistically and what she did to the game and what she brought to the game, I would argue is more than Pac, musically. Like, Missy has a ton of sons and daughters out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Lil Wayne, the guy that y'all stan, is a Missy Elliott stan, right? All that, and I've talked about this. You can watch my Missy Elliott video. Missy Elliott's influence is massive musically. So, I think I was right to put Missy up there. And Missy shit is fun. Again, I'm more in, like, your music has to be dope and fun and, and still kind of hard hitting. And I think my issue with Pac is that I feel that a lot of Pac's music is very morose and has this like depressing energy to it. But I didn't really pick up on when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I'm like, can't do it. You know what I mean? Now, Pac is interesting because Pac didn't have the greatest rhymes, didn't have the greatest vocals, although he does have a fantastic rap voice. I'll give him that. He definitely has one of the best rap voices ever, right? And again, like I said, voice will get you far, right? He also has a number of fantastic beats. As I've said, beats and voice get you super far in rap. Charisma, actual charisma. And Pac has that. His flow is okay. It's good. It works. But obviously he's not as like stylistic or as impressive with the flow as someone like a Nas or a Method Man or even your average, quote-unquote average rapper of that time. Even though, Pac wasn't average. He was a little bit above average in my opinion. But comparing him to someone like a Nas or a Big or Prodigy, or Common or whatever. I mean, those guys clearly had more rap technique and finesse than Pac. Pac was, you could tell he wasn't as great with the flow, right? But again, he has the voice and he understands rap, so he's pretty good. What are my favorite songs by Pac? Well, there's a lot of songs by Pac I like. Like I said, I don't listen to Pac regularly at all. I barely listen to him, but he has a lot of songs that if they come on, obviously I'm going to jam to because they're just dope songs. His discography is mad long. But again, it's quality. And that's the thing about Pac. Pac has a lot of quality ass songs. What makes you a great rapper is how many super quality songs do you have? And Pac has a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? That's why Pac is one of the greatest rappers ever. Even though, like I said, not necessarily the best with the flow, and even the beats are dope, but they're not like the craziest beats I've ever heard. But they are still, fantastic in their own right. But just the sheer amount of them will get you in that greatest list. So I got to give it up to Pac. This is obviously one of my favorite Pac beats ever, Trading War Stories. The song itself is kind of eh. I thought Pac was pretty decent, but his boys, I wasn't feeling their rhymes at all. And the way that they came on the track, they all sounded drunk. And that was the whole thing for me with Pac. As I got older, I just started to, I'm listening to it and I'm like, man, this guy just sounds like he's just blurting out almost anything that comes to mind, right? And it's hitting, but it's also kind of not hitting. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go through album by album and see what I like most about Pac. Remind me here. Look at my computer. So, first album, Apocalypse Now. I don't know if I've heard this album in full, but I might have tried. And I don't think I liked any song off here. I gotta be honest with you. I think this is when Pac was still figuring it out. I still don't like Brenda's Got a Baby. Never been a fan, honestly. It's some retread Melly Mel shit, Baby in a Trash Can. I know it hit at the time, but I'm not feeling it. The R&B, it just wasn't. It's not for me. But I respect it, I guess, in the sense that it made an impression on people. But I didn't think it was anything special, really, musically. This song, great shit. So then we move on to Strictly for My Niggas, right? Trying to think off here, what did I like? Keep Your Head Up, obviously. I Get Around, yeah, man. Yeah, I love those two songs. Those songs are fantastic. Holla If You Hear Me, it was cool, but I don't really listen to that. And the rest of this, I don't know if I ever heard this album. I don't think I ever heard this album in full. Let's see, Thug Life Volume 1, what was on this? I've heard this before. It's cool. Again, background to listen to, but I would never play any of these songs from Thug Life Volume 1, like on its own, and jam out to it personally. Me Against the World. What was on this album? Me Against the World, I love that beat. Soul Shock, that's a Soul Shock. They were in their bag, Soul Shock and Carlin, man. I love that beat. I love that chorus. It's a depressing song, but that's a great Pac song, honestly. Really great. And obviously, Old School. I love that song. So those are the two songs I love off Me Against the World. I feel like I've heard this album before, but again, nothing else really sticks out for me personally that I really got into. They're all decent, So Many Tears, Temptations. These are decent songs, but a little too slow for me. Now we get to All Eyez On Me, which I think is Pac's best work, period. And it's funny, I remember there was a quote somewhere where they were saying that as Pac's life got crazier, his music got crazier. And that's true. That really is facts. And I think that was part of the mystique with Pac, he was doing a lot, to say it bluntly. And while all this shit was happening and he's getting locked up and people are getting shot around him and all this stuff, he's releasing better and better music. It's the Tekashi 6ix9ine model, man. A lot of rappers have followed that model. The Nipsey Hussle of the world. They've all followed this, I'm like Pac. I don't give a fuck. I'll slap whoever, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it'll get my name out there. And then while my name's out there, hopefully I can drop some hot shit that keeps me out there, you know, and then I do more crazy shit, right? It's a certain formula that a lot of people have picked up, unfortunately. And I feel like Pac is kind of the originator of that bullshit. Anyway, All Eyes on Me. Ambitions is a rider. Not so much crazy about that. Got My Mind Made Up. I love that song. That's a dope song. How do you want it? Ooh, that that was hot. That was hot. I remember hearing that in high school, like at parties and shit like that. People play that. That was hot, man. I used to love that record. Great video too. Two of America's Most Wanted's fire. No More Pain I don't really listen to, but I do like it. That kung kung kung, you know, it's got that Timbaland knock to it, which I guess Timbaland did the beat. I'm not sure about that, but oh, Life Goes On. You know, I would say that that's like, Life Goes On hits me, man. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's like a top 5 Pac record for me, man. Life Goes On is nuts. Life Goes On is nuts. Let's see what else is here. That's a nut. That song was nuts back then. I remember hearing it and just being like almost tears coming and shit. That song is nuts. Trading War Stories is dope. California Love, these are all fire songs, you know? So it was a lot of cool shit, man, honestly. Really. That first disc of All Eyes on Me, fire.